Alright, today chat, we will be going over basically how I'm schizophrenic. One video was brought to my attention about, it was called Schizophrenic Episode Caught on Camera. It's a 5-year-old video, and I want to go over it, see what my take is on it. I haven't watched it yet. I wanted to save it for stream, and I just want to see what my personal experience is compared to this guy's personal experience, because I've never met someone else with schizophrenia before, so I want to see what the difference is. But before we get into that, I want to go over what my personal experiences were. So with my personal experiences, it started when I was 17. So when I was 17, I started hearing voices just casually. They didn't make much sense. There's no rhyme or reason to them. I didn't really think of anything of it. It was just little voices like do this, do that. A lot of them had commands to them. And when they had commands to them, I wouldn't necessarily follow them, but I just kind of brushed them off. I never really thought of anything of it. And then I started like understanding. I was like, these voices aren't there. And then I started having visual hallucinations, as far as like they started linking up with each other, because the biggest hallucination I've had was I thought there was a war on Pluto, and I had to go stop this war. And in order to stop this war, I had to off myself to get on a spaceship. So, and to get to that, yeah, it kind of hurts me going back and thinking about it, because I could have legitimately, it just wasn't a good time of my life, just because I wasn't sad or depressed during any of this. It just wasn't a good time in my life due to, I just wasn't in the right headspace because of my schizophrenia. It was before I was on medications. Like, now I'm on medications. I'm doing a lot better now. And I don't have as many visual hallucinations. I still have auditory hallucinations quite a bit now. But I usually can tell when they're coming on, and I can get more medication inside of me before anything bad can happen. I've never hurt anyone, never done anything like that. I've just had bad times, basically, just bad trips, basically. That's why I've never wanted to try drugs or anything like that, because like, what if I never come back from the trip, basically? Yeah, and just with a lot of my other schizophrenic times, like I've had times when there's been demons inside my room, and I see the devil itself come into my room. Because like when I was going back to the Pluto story, there was a very distinct character who would come into my room for months at a time. His name was Jack, and like he the only way I can describe him is, imagine Santa Claus but with a dark beard. Like he didn't wear the Santa Claus attire, but he was just kind of an older man, heavier set. If I were to see a picture of Jack today, I would recognize him, because he was just that vivid and like that distinct. And like he looked as real as like a normal human being. And I could talk to him, he would reply back. I remember once I put out my hand and shook his hand, and it felt like I was shaking someone's hand. And I was down a very deep rabbit hole as far as schizophrenia goes. And like, I know everyone's is different. Some people are going to call me liars. Some people are going to say that's not how schizophrenia works or whatnot. But like, as far as what I've seen and everything, like I had a very severe case of schizophrenia, or I still do have a very severe case of schizophrenia. But the biggest thing I hate about schizophrenia is no one really understands it. So the reason why I'm doing this is because like, maybe I can like not really come out of like just talking about it, but like, I don't know, I've never really told anyone like outside of my family about it. Like even my uncles and aunts don't know about it, because like they wouldn't be very understanding as far as everything went. Like I've told more internet strangers about my schizophrenia as far as everything went, because it's easier to tell someone about your schizophrenia that you'll never meet in life, because if they don't understand it, then you can immediately drop them, because schizophrenia, like it's so rare, and like there's so much stigma around schizophrenia that you'll hurt someone, that people are just scared to talk to you after you tell them. Because I've told some people about it, and then they never talk to you again because they think you're just some mass killer. And just like some of my other schizophrenic episodes I've had since I was 17, like a lot of them have to deal with paranoia. Like I remember once I had to quit a job because I caused such a commotion. I thought there was a sniper up on a mountaintop, and I thought I saw the sniper glare, and I thought someone was telling me that the CIA was out to get me. And so I ran away from that job. I literally ran very far away from what we were doing. And people were like, what the heck? They thought I was on drugs, but so I just went home and I just never came back. And just part of life, because that was after I was on medication too. And just, I don't know, just with the schizophrenia, like, it feels good to open up about it, because like it's just so hard keeping it inside of you, because no one really describes it as well as like yourself, because even people who do have schizophrenia, like they don't know your case, because everyone with schizophrenia is like a little bit different. Because like this video was brought to my attention about the schizoing through life, I immediately, at first I thought this was like kind of played up for the YouTube thing, but like I honestly think this guy does have schizophrenia, because I was reading some of the comments. Some people were talking about, like, some people were saying he was faking and stuff like that, but just looking at the channel as a whole, I think this guy definitely does have schizophrenia, just because who am I to judge who this guy is and everything like that. So I'm going to switch my screens real quick. I'm going to go through his most viewed video. It's called Schizophrenic, episode caught on camera. It's my channel, Schizoing Through Life. He has 112,000 subscribers, big channel. This video is 5 years old. It has 10 million views. If you want to go watch it for yourself, go do that. But basically, I'm going to be a schizophrenic guy reacting to this. I haven't watched it yet, and so like I want to see what the take is. I want to see what someone else's viewpoint is, because I've done a lot of reading about it, just trying to understand schizophrenia, because I don't understand where mine came from, because like I never did any drugs like before I got schizophrenia. I had a few big head injuries, so maybe that caused it. I don't know, I never was on any like hard medications before it. No one in my family has it. Like, that's probably the hardest part, is because like there's no real cause to it for me. Like, that's been part of the hardest coping mechanism for me.
I am currently...
So right off the bat, I will say he does have the typical stare of that a lot of schizophrenics have, because like with me, when I have an episode, like, because I can feel episodes coming on like a lot of times, and I get this stare. Like my mom says my eyes don't look right, because she can tell when something's about to go wrong, because I get this stare that I can't recreate when I'm not having an episode, because not really creepy stare, but this really unruly, I can't really describe it, but there's just this stare that is not good to see. And just with this, so I can tell with this one, I can tell he's not faking it with this one, because he's not really saying many words. Like your body language tells a lot more than your words when you're having an episode, at least in my case, and just with everything there. And so yeah, and I applaud him for being able to come out and take a video of it, because a lot of people are scared of schizophrenics, when like 99.9999999% of them are harmless, and like most of them do not harm anyone. They just live out their lives. They take medication. They get fixed up, and like they're normal people. And so like that's why I really like that he did this video, because it's a good thing to do. Like, and I'm glad he had the courage to be able to do a video, because I know I wouldn't have the courage to do this, because like with me, like just me personally, I get really nervous about when I have episodes, because they can be embarrassing, just as far as everything goes, and just as far as like what you say. Like sometimes you say things you don't mean.
The windows like I normally have, because I'm trying to fight it.
And he does, and with his paranoia, that is a very common occurrence with schizophrenics. And like with my schizophrenia, a lot of my occurrences are paranoia. So I've had very similar hallucinations / delusions. I don't think I've ever thought about communists. I've thought of government people coming to get to me. I usually think of the CIA. Whenever I think of people coming to get me, I usually say it's the CIA, or I just simply say the government. That is something that is very scary, because like to a schizophrenic, it's real to a schizophrenic. Like there's no like ifs, ands, or buts. Like it's something real to them. Like say you saw, only way I can describe it is, say you had someone walk into your room, and then they walk out. you see them, you can go before a judge and say that person walked in and walked out. But then say someone told you that person did not walk in and walk out. Like, that's basically how do I describe it? Like, that's how real a lot of schizophrenics visual hallucinations are. Like, sometimes they can be a little bit ghostly or whatnot, but like, to me at least, my visual hallucinations were very real. Like, I couldn't tell the difference between what was real and what wasn't. I kind of lose reality pretty quickly.
Recording software and stop recording.
Interesting. When you said he's hearing voices, like, is it, how do you hear a character's voice in your head when you hear real words? Or do you mean, what do you mean, was it likely sound? So sometimes, it can be both. For me personally, when it comes to in the room with you, how do I explain this? So most of the time it's in like your head, like the voice in your head changes. So like you still have the voice in your head, but like, and then say someone says, turn around, or I'm here. Like, it sounds like the voice in your head, but it's different. And then you hear someone come in the room say, I'm gonna kill you. Like, then it sounds like it's coming in the room, and then you get all freaked out. So it can be both, at least in my experience, but usually it's just a voice in your head. Like, it sounds like someone's in there, but like, I've had both of them happen, and like, but my case was pretty severe, like, as far as like, yeah, my case has been pretty severe just along the ways as far as everything. So it could change from case to case as far as everything goes, but I've had both, long story short. But they don't meet, there's no meaning behind any of them. So it's just whatever your brain thinks up and then puts out there kind of thing. So like, because I asked my doctor about that once, because a lot of my hallucinations have to do with me being wanted. Like, I was like, is that because I don't feel wanted in life? And she's like, no, your brain just does whatever it feels like. And they just happen to be scary a lot of times. They just happen to have weird side notes to them. And it's like, because I've had weird conversations, like, as far as everything goes. Like, I've had conversations about being a pirate. I've had conversations about going to space. I've had conversations about being a cowboy. Like, just like, they usually have to do with me doing something, but they don't have any meaning behind them.
Before I started recording, I'm kind of fading in and out of what's going on, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know. Let me explain more.
That makes a lot of sense. So basically, I think what he's trying to say is he's kind of losing track of reality, because he needs medication. I think the smartest thing would be to do was, if he has medication here, stop the video and take your medication, because that's my warning to anyone who, if you're watching this and you have schizophrenia, do not reenact this video, because it damages your brain, it damages everything about you. Like, because I've tried pushing through episodes, like, say I'm out somewhere and my medication's a long ways away. Just take whatever needs necessary to go take your emergency medication, because like in my case, emergency medication helps it. You take it and it's fast acting. But like, because sometimes I forget to take my medication, I forget to do that, or I just need a little bit extra. But that doesn't always work for everyone. Sometimes you just have to wait it out. So like, he could just be waiting it out, because sometimes it doesn't work like that for everyone. And when you fade in and out of conscious, like, it's a really scary part of the hallucination, because like, you know it's about to happen and you get scared, like, what is going to happen. Because I've kind of come to terms to accept that something bad might happen to me with one of these schizophrenic episodes, because like, some people, they either get a tattoo or a necklace saying they're schizophrenic, but like, I've never really thought of doing that, because I figured it wouldn't help me in a time of crisis, because like, granted it would be nice if they could figure it out, but like, if I'm out there yelling and screaming, they're not going to be checking my necklace. Like, that's why there needs to be more help in the world for schizophrenics, because like, more people than you think have schizophrenia. Like, a majority, like a lot of homeless people do have schizophrenia, whether it's brought on by brought on by genetics, even drug use, or just whatever brought it on, they probably do have some sort of schizophrenia, and it is very hard to function in society if you do have schizophrenia. It is a huge battle with the disability system, just work system, because if you have, like with me and like having episodes and stuff, like it can make you tired for days. Like after, if you have a big episode, like it just wears you down after a while, like because you get headaches, your eyes hurt sometimes, like at least for me, that like. And to answer your question about caused by past trauma or certain drugs, so schizophrenia can be caused by past trauma. It can be genetics. Like with me, it's genetics with me. I've never had any past trauma. I never did any drugs before it. I just one day started hearing voices and it never went away. It can be both. Like some people, they have trauma, they start doing drugs, and then they start getting schizophrenia. But there's a whole bunch of different reasons. But like with me, like, because I'm trying to make this from a personal standpoint, but for me, it just happened, and so I don't know. There's no one in my family who has it, so that's why it was really weird for me to get it. I want to emphasize that every person with schizophrenia is different. There's no one book that can cover schizophrenia. Like, there's so many different things, like the medications you take, the therapy that you go through. Like, there's not one thing that you can do that, like, because there's no cure for it. Obviously, there's no cure for schizophrenia, and just so you can't really change it, like, as far as like, or you can't really fix it as far as anything goes. Like, you can help suppress the hallucinations and delusions. Like, I went a period for like 6 months where I didn't have any problems, and then my medication kind of wore off a little bit. But medication, it does wonders. That's why I think if you're out there watching this and you think you're having schizophrenic episodes, go to a doctor, go to somewhere, and like get help, because the medication does wonders. It makes your life a whole lot better. And just like, schizophrenia is not something you need to be scared of. Like I was scared to tell people for a long time. Like if they don't like that you have it, then that's on them. Like, a lot of people have it. It's rare, but a lot of people do have it.